Hello again, and welcome back to another video. In this video, as the title probably says, I'm quitting Genshin Impact. It has been a long time coming. I've been playing the game less and less as time goes on, and I've eventually decided to quit the game. The state of the game is just terrible. It was super fun. Now, it was super fun, and don't get me wrong, I love the game. The game is super amazing, and I want it to do great, and I want it to be doing great for years to come, because I would really like to be playing this game many years down the line. The problem is that I don't want to play it in its current state and the state it looks to be heading based on how it's been heading. This game has way too many issues and way too many problems, but these issues can be easily fixed. When I complain about one of these issues in this video, I will also be telling or providing a way that it could be fixed that would be better for the company and for us. I'm not just going to be like, oh, like a nuclear option that's going to be way better for the player. No, I want to provide a reasonable way the company could fix the issue and it be good for both parties. So, the first issue I have is the resin system. The resin system has been the same since 1.2. The only difference is that there's a billion things more to do. Back in 1.2, we had Mondstadt, we had Leeway, and we had the Frost place, the Stone Mountain or whatever it's called, the Frost Mountain. Those are the three areas we had, and we had not nearly as many artifact dungeons. We had not as many bosses. We just had a couple things to do. Now, back in that time, honestly, it was still needed. Like a resin system change was still needed. Not nearly as much now, but it's becoming more and more prevalent the more and more we progress through the story and the game. Now, in 1.2, or close to 1.2, I don't know when the exact change happened, it actually was improved. Originally, when the game released, we had like 120 resin, but now it's 160. How they could fix this, there are two ways. Obviously, the best way, just to remove the resin system. Or if not remove the resin system, remove it from artifacts. Or remove it from bosses. Make it so bosses don't require resin, or make it so artifact dungeons don't require resin. Now, that is a little bit of a nuclear option. However, you could also reduce the costs, or you can up the amount of resin we get. So instead of 160, let's bring it up to 200. That's a great amount. 200 is really good. And update how fast it regions. Because right now, the region is incredibly slow. It needs to be twice as fast, if not 3 times as fast. It just needs to be upped. But also, you can spend money, real life, cash money, to refill your resin. That needs to be changed. I'm not saying get rid of that system. No, absolutely not. I encourage that system. If you have an energy system in the game, which I hate energy systems in the game, but since this is a gacha game and that's a staple in the gacha games, I'm going to provide fixes specifically for that instead of just saying get rid of it. You could, first off, remove the cap. For some reason, they capped how many times you could refresh it per day. Why? I have no idea. I could not think of an actual reason the company would want to do it besides making players play longer and keep coming back because they have so much to do. But eventually, there are two things that's going to happen. Eventually, you're just going to have too much to do that people aren't going to do it. Or, on the same coin, a new player is going to realize how little you can do per day and how much you have to do and just quit before even doing it. They're just going to quit. There's too much to do in the game with how much little resin we have. The resin system needs to change. It needs to. Now, this is a minor complaint, and honestly, it's not a complaint that I would stop the game playing. I would stop playing the game for. There's just way too many 5 stars versus 4 stars. More 4 stars need to come out. You can make new 4 stars either from characters that already exist in the game, or just make new ones out of your ass. For those of you that didn't play Genshin on release, when you did the Leeway storyline, Ganyu was not in the Leeway storyline. She wasn't. She was added in later after her release. You could do that for literally any character. It doesn't matter. Nobody's going to think too hard about it. Or if they do, they're going to be like, whatever. And if they're not like, whatever, and they actually complain, tell them to eat a bag of dicks, dude. I don't care. I want more 4 stars. I don't care where they come from. They could plop out of the fucking... That could be their story. They grew out of the ground. Okay, whatever. They look hot, you know? Are they a hot dude? Are they a hot girl? Is their gameplay nice? All right, cool, thanks. Moving on. I mean, it's that simple. With the release of more 4 stars, that leads into my next complaint. The standard banner. We've had the same standard. We've had the same standard banner since 1.0. It might have been the same in beta. I don't know. But we've had the same standard banner since 1.0, which is absurd. Why do we not just have 2 options here? The less popular characters like Zhao, Albedo, I don't know who else. I just know those 2. I just know those 2 are unpopular. We could have characters that are like that, the unpopular characters, put into the standard banner to fill up more, to add more to it. So that way it's not just the same 5 stars. Or, now here's a better option. That's not even a nuclear option, by the way. Put every 5-star into the standard banner. And the rate up banners are exactly that, a rate up. The chance of getting that character over the other standard of the other 5 stars are just raised up. Then when you lose the 50-50, you'll complain a whole lot less. Because yeah, you would have loved the standard character, right? Or you would love the premium character, or whatever the rate up character is. But you might have gotten a Hu Tao out of it. But you're not going to complain about that. Then there's no reason to not have it like that. There are many other gacha games that work like that. And they're not suffering for it. You know what I mean? They're not suffering. There's no reason to not have it like that. Because I'm pretty sure their Twitter posts they word their Twitter posts very poorly when it comes to that stuff. I'm going to put a Twitter post right here on the screen. And they say, the character event wish to insert name here will be available after X date. During this period, X character will receive a huge drop rate boost. That implies the huge drop rate boost implies that you can get them outside. It's just that the chance of you getting them has been greatly increased. That is terrible marketing strategy to word it like that. If I was a new character and didn't know how the pity system to Genshin worked, and I read that, I'd be like, oh, cool. So that means you can get them outside. And then somebody would explain to me, no, it's just that means that's the only time you can get them. But it says a huge drop rate boost, which means it's boosting its current drop rate. Yeah, from 0. They need to just put them all in the standard banner. That's the best way to fix it. It is the best way to fix it. Now you could put popular ones in. That's another way to fix it. But honestly, even from a business standpoint, it would be much better just to put them all in the standard banner and actually do what it says, raising its rates up per that premium, that section where it's rate up. Which would kind of fix the next issue, which is one of the biggest issues. It has terrible rates for its system, for its banner system. I know it's not the worst. I know there are games out there with worse, but it doesn't need to be the worst. It doesn't. It could be better. You could raise it up ever so slightly. It's a 0.6% chance. Raise that up to 0.8. Raise that up to 1. You're not hurting yourself. You're not. Especially with the constellation system. You are not hurting. You're not shooting yourself in the foot by raising the rates. You're not losing money. Because the whales are still going to whale. And free-to-play players are still going to be free-to-play. It's not going to change anything. It's just going to help that random Andy that works a 9 to 5 and gets like $200 of spending money a month and decides to spend it on Genshin. It's going to help him enjoy his character better. And he's more likely to spend that entire $200 on your game. With the terrible rates, the pity system's also garbage. I'll talk about the weapon pity system here in a second, because before the change that happened to it with the stellar or whatever and the old weapon banner, they're still terrible. Now, the pity system, it's too high. It needs to be reduced from 90 to 60 or 8 or 70. It just needs to be reduced from 90. It should not cost a PlayStation 5 to get a 5-star, like a guaranteed 5-star. It should not cost the cost of a PlayStation 5. It should at most cost $100, maybe $120. Now, are most games like that? Absolutely not. Would it just be better this way? Absolutely. Reasonably, $200 for a guaranteed. Sure. I mean, I hate gacha system. I'm going to be real. I used to like them. I've grown to hate them. It would be just better to be $100 for the guaranteed 5-star. It absolutely would. Or just not be gacha system. Be a DLC or something. I don't know. Or something that you have to farm. That'd be also better. But since it's a gacha game, reduce it. Make it $100. Make it 60, which I don't even think 60 is $100. I think it's way more than that. But reducing it to 60 would make it so much better for literally everybody. It would technically lose you money because people would be getting their 5-stars sooner. However, it's worth the loss in the long term to do it that way, because right now it's just too much money to invest that you have people not bother spending money because of how much money they would have to spend to get their guaranteed favorite character. They're just like, you know what? It's not worth it. There's no point in spending $30 that I have to spend on this game to get it, because I'm not going to get guaranteed my character. So they just don't spend it. And then if you reduce it, people would be like, oh, you know what? Let's spend the $30. Sure, why not? The weapon system, the best way to fix that, make it so instead of like right now they have it set so you could choose one, and then if you fail the 50-50 twice, so you could fail the normal 50-50 from the pity system, and then you could fail the 50-50 to get the on banner weapons, right? Like you have 2 on banner weapons. If you have a 50-50 between them, if you lose the 50-50 that for the weapon you want, that's 2 50-50s lost. You get the next 5-star you get is going to be the one you want. Do away with that system. Just make it so you can select which weapon you're wanting for. So that way there is no losing the 50-50 twice. There's just losing the 50-50 once for the guaranteed 5-star that you want, the guaranteed banner 5-star, and then you get that weapon. You need so many weapons that it makes 0 sense to have the weapon system like that. It's just dumb. There's no reason for it. Other than it being a cash grab, there's no reason for it to be like that. I don't know. That's the best. That's all I can say on that. I hate the weapon banner so much. I hate that I lost. I spent like almost double the money I spent on Hu Tao. I spent trying to get the Staff of Homa because I kept losing Wolf's Gravestone. I hate that. It's just I don't know, man. They just need to fix it. That being said, moving on. Now, earlier I said about having to farm through the entire game to get to the certain character you would have farmed for, right? This kind of leads off of that, and that's this game for the past while, and honestly, besides the Resin System, the big driving home factor for why I'm quitting is it has been nothing but half-assed events. That we're just constantly, every patch we get like 2 events, 4 events, whatever. Events are supposed to be something special. And a game could do an event every 2 weeks, which is what they're doing right now. It's like every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks, I don't remember. It's very common to have an event. Events need to be something special. If they stop doing all of these half-assed events, every event could be like the Golden Archipelago, which, honestly, fuck their decision for the Golden Archipelago. That should have been a permanent addition. We should still be able to go to the Golden Archipelago. They wasted so much development time working on that just for it to be in the game for like 2 to 3 weeks. It should be a permanent addition. They worked so hard on that. It showed how much effort they put into it with all the stuff in there. It's dumb that they got rid of it. That being said, they just need to imagine if every event was like that instead of being these super half-assed events. But that also leads into the next complaint, because the originality of this complaint isn't that they're just making too many events. That's not. Everybody likes events. It gets free stuff. The reason I hate events is because they're choosing to work on the events more than they're choosing to work on the story. The game has been out for over a year now, and we're only on chapter 3. I honestly feel like they're extending chapter 3 just so they could put out more events. Like, it feels like they're stalling way too much when it comes to the main story, with no reason to. There's no reason to stall this much on the main story. They have the story. They have it done. Maybe they don't have it like word for word done, but they have their story planned out. We saw the Tevat trailer preview that released with the game. We know how the story is going to go. There is no reason to only be on chapter 3. We should be in Fontaine right now, or whatever the fire area after Fontaine. We should be there by now. If not, done with the game. Imagine if instead of these half-assed, terrible quests for the events that they're doing, right? Imagine if they stopped doing that, wasting all this effort on stuff that's removed from the game after a week or two, and instead put that towards the actual story. Imagine how much further we would be. We would be so much further. And if we were further in the story, it would make them more money. And the reason why for that is because they would have more characters to release. They just need to get more done, because then they would have more characters to pull for. Or, to be honest, they could go through characters more. They're doing these reruns to stall, which they wouldn't need to do reruns if they did the change to the standard banner, like I said before. They could still do reruns, like they could do a rerun banner on top of a new character banner, which they've tested, and I think it did well. I actually don't know the numbers, but I feel like it would have done well, right? Because there was no reason for it to not do well. There were 2 5-stars that people wanted. Just focus on the main story. Release more of the main story. Stop doing these half-assed quests. Do an event every month or every 2 to 3 months. That way they feel more special and not like a chore. And you can spend more time on them. And we get the satisfaction of having more of the story, because their main story is amazing. They have a super great story. There's no reason for it to not be done by now, or close to being done after over a year of playing this game. Finally, or not finally, but close to finally, the Spiral Abyss. Now this is going to be a hot take. It is. There's going to be so many people on both sides of this fence here, and I am on both of your sides. Split me down the middle, because I'm there on both sides. The Spiral Abyss needs to be reduced in difficulty. Back in I think it was like 1.2 or 1.3 was the best difficulty it was. It was a challenge to complete, but it was not too hard to complete. Now, why it needs to be reduced? Because there are 2 different types of people. There are the people that want the Spiral Abyss to be extremely hard because they want a challenge. There's no issue in that. I am one of those people. I love challenges. I am a Final Fantasy XIV Ultimate Raider and a Savage Raider. I love hard content. That's not my complaint. Because the other side, the other person, they just do the Spiral Abyss because it gives primos. So if you made it hard enough that provided a challenge, but not a super hard challenge, then those people could get their primos with the challenge, and then you could create another content type like the Spiral Abyss, but with more to it. Like that, that one event that you could customize the boss, right? You could add all these challenges to make the boss harder. Do that, but for the Spiral Abyss, and just make that a super thing. So people that want hard content, you could release the extremely hard content that's constantly changing for people and please them. And then the people that are just doing the Spiral Abyss for the primos can also get the primos, because usually the people that are doing the Spiral Abyss for the hard content aren't doing it for the primos. There are some that are, but the majority of people that are doing Spiral Abyss for the primos aren't doing it because it's hard. They're doing it because they want primos and they're starved for primos. Finally, this is the final complaint / fix. characters that are being released now are terribly balanced. Whether you want to admit it or not, compared to some of the characters that were released prior, they are terrible, terrible design. And they could be designed so much better. And it's not even like they need a whole design kit rebalance. They just need a buff. There's the reason that they're scared to release powerful characters or really well balanced characters is because of Ganyu and Zhongli. When they were released, they were godly powerful. Ganyu is still a walking nuclear bomb. Like, she is so powerful. That being said, why be scared of other characters being like that? You do not have a problem with Ganyu and Zhongli being super powerful if every character is like that. You're not competing. Players are not competing with each other. There's no need for that intense look at about, because they're looking at the balance system so intensely that they're balancing it poorly. They're misbalancing it because they're scared of balancing it too strong. But why? This is a PvE game, not a PvP game. This is no esports. There's no competition. We're just fighting a bunch of hilly churls and kicking the crap out of some slimes. Why poorly balance your characters to be underwhelming when you could just make them powerful? And this is coming from someone who plays Yoimiya. I've triple crowned Yoimiya. I have so much playtime on Yoimiya. I love her. But I also understand she is very poorly balanced. I have made my Yoimiya extremely powerful. But most people think Yoimiya is a terrible unit because to most, unless you dedicate as much resources as I've dedicated to her, she is a bad character. You could make all these characters as powerful as Ganyu, and then you don't have to worry about a character being as strong as Ganyu because they're all that strong, and Ganyu is no longer a shining star. Or Zhongli. There's just no reason for it. That's my final complaint. I have other minute complaints, like being forced into a healer meta, but I've made a video on that before. You can check it out by going into I'll link it down below. There are a lot of other minor complaints, but those are the major ones that drove home me wanting to quit this game. I would like to return to this game at one point, but that's only if they turn around and fix up their shit. Because if they don't fix up their shit, in a year or two's time, another game is going to come out like Genshin, but they care about their community, and they're going to snatch up the ball that Genshin dropped. I hope HoYoverse picks up the ball that they've dropped to make a super great game before someone else does. Because if another game releases like Genshin, I'll probably play it. Because I love this concept of a game. And most people do. That's why this game does so popular. They just need to stop fucking up. Because if they don't, the game's gonna die before their 10-year plan ends. It's just like that. Anyways, thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoy it. I'll see you on the next time. Make sure to catch me live on my Twitch, which is linked down below. Until next time, peace.